welcome back to Ghosted, Gagged, and Gay. Today's episode is for anyone who has ever had amazing sex, but and then felt more alone afterward. I'm Lonay, and this is Ghosted, Gagged, and Gay. Where we talk gay dating, queer dating, emotional safety, and the patterns that keep us stuck. And today I've got two guests who are basically the dream team for this specific topic. Radiance Sanneman, a trauma specialist and internal family systems IFS therapist, focused on queer folks and neurodivergent adults. And the other guest is Vanessa Cushing, a licensed professional counselor and AASECT-certified sex therapist, specializing in sexual health, intimacy, and trauma recovery. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Good to be here, Lonay.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, happy to have you here, both of you. Today, we will be getting into why sex can feel easier than intimacy, how to spot when you're using sex to manage anxiety or earn closeness, and what it looks like to build emotional and sexual safety without killing the vibe. So, I have some burning questions, Vanessa and Radiance. Do you want to start dive right in?
Sure. Go
Sure.
ahead.
Yeah.
So for the first question about sex and intimacy, I think that a lot of people think that the way that I view sex is that there's a couple of different islands in sex. So there's intimate sex, so you can have a lot of emotional closeness with that person during sex. So intimacy is that. And then there's eroticism, which I think is very prevalent in many different relationships. And eroticism can live on its own, intimacy can live on its own. But eroticism is kind of that dirty, nasty, kinky kind of fun sex, shall we say, without that same emotional connection. So I think a good sex life, typically, if you're in a relationship, includes both eroticism and intimacy. So those loving, kind feelings, as well as that fun, dirty, kinky kind of sex.
All right. So how do you say, like, this question is to the both of you, like, why does sex sometimes feel easier than intimacy?
Mm.
I would just say very quickly, like sex is an activity, it's a behavior, and it feels good. And for most people, there's a pull to engage, like libido desire, there's a desire to engage in it. And so to share this activity that feels good with someone else is often more accessible than to totally be vulnerable as a being. And my favorite definition of the word intimacy is vulnerable closeness.
Hmm.
And there's this sense like I'm right here with you, and vulnerable literally means like I'm kind of accessible to be hurt. Like I'm accessible to be hurt by you. I'm putting myself out there enough that it would be easy for you to hurt me. And so intimacy is like requiring this bravery of like, can you let them know what you really want?
Hmm.
Can you let them know where you really came from? And it's not as easy as just saying, let's share this pleasurable activity and kind of do this behavior together. It's yeah. So that would be my answer.
Even
Yeah.
if so even like this the activity itself, it involves a lot of vulnerability as well, right? Like being naked, showing
Mhm.
all of your perfect and imperfect sides.
Mhm.
So like this is still easier than this emotional intimacy, right? Like,
Yeah.
but in what sense it's easier?
Well, I think I think I really like what Radiant said is because when there's vulnerability, there's an armor to vulnerability. Like we have to sink into the emotional piece and our emotional side. And for a lot of people, that's really difficult is to actually go inside and think, okay, what are we actually thinking? What are we actually feeling? What do we actually need in this moment? And that's way harder, I think, for most people than just to rip off your clothes and like get on top of someone.
Yeah, that makes actually total sense. I think, do you think also this could let people get stuck into like patterns of like situationships and like this kind of self-sabotage and so on?
Absolutely. I do think sometimes like anxious attachment comes in where people will use sex as a mechanism to feel close to somebody without building that like actual intimate connection, that vulnerable connection with that person.
Yeah, makes sense. So, Vanessa, another question to you, like, when sex is being used to like manage anxiety. So we talked like about vulnerability and this armor thing. So it could also be that sex is a like defense fort to not let people in like emotionally and like in a
Mhm.
way also proving to themselves like, no, we can be intimate because we're having sex. So it's kind of like logicalizing this defense mechanism.
Mhm.
Um, so if someone is using sex as a way to manage anxiety or earn closeness, like what would you say are the most common signs that you see?
It's a good question. Um, hold on, let me think about this because I think when you use sex, and I think it's eroticism, right? We use eroticism rather than intimacy to connect. And we use it as a mechanism to almost like there's a gap between us, and we use the eroticism to feel close, but is it an actual closeness? Is it emotional and psychological closeness, or is it just a physical closeness? And I think that when we're using it as a coping mechanism for anxiety, I think for anxious attachment, people don't feel close enough to their partner. So they might use sex to feel close to them. And typically what happens is you might be in a relationship with someone who's anxious, might be with somebody who's avoidant. So that avoidant person might be withholding that emotional and psychological closeness, but might be giving the sex, might be giving the eroticism. It might not be the sex that you are looking for, it might not be looking someone in the eye saying, I love you, but it is erotic. And that's what that person is giving. And the anxious person might give more sex to fulfill that physical closeness need and to feel close to that person. Whether or not it is emotionally and psychologically close, it might just be physically close, but still, it is a mechanism to soothe that person. I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, no, it made a lot of sense. I think it's true, but I think it's still difficult to really like spot these signs. Like, am I doing this to like relieve my anxiety, or am I doing this because I enjoy it and it is like a healthy way of doing it? So, because I mean,
Mhm.
of course, maybe w with sex there could be a lot of like nerves happening, and then it's hard to know, right? Like whether like am I doing it just out of anxiety or like to seek closeness, or am I doing it just to enjoy it?
I think that's the question they have to ask themselves, like, why am I having sex today? Why am I doing it because I want to have sex and it feels really good for me? Or am I doing it because I have this anxiety and I want this to go away?
Exactly. Yeah, kind of like awareness also of the
Mhm.
thoughts before and after, like what happens and during as well. It could be also good to like journal these things, right?
Yes.
And Radiance, so quick IFS translation. So like when you say like a part of me wants closeness, but another part panics. So I read online, actually I was very new to this IFS like method or concept, and I saw like it's all about really parts, like part of me this, part of me that. Um, what does that mean in real life?
Yeah, so in IFS, we believe, in internal family systems, IFS, we believe that everybody has these different sides of themselves. These, we call them subpersonalities, if you need to use a fancy psychological term, but we call them parts. Everybody's got these different subpersonalities or parts. It's not just like for quote unquote crazy people. There are people who have more dissociation than other people, and we see some of those represented in our media where they actually have different multiple personalities that they switch between. But the truth is that we all have multiple personalities. We just don't all have so much dissociation that we're kind of switching between them, leading different lives. And so there's a side of me that comes out when I get angry, and there's a side of me that comes out when I get nervous, and that this is normal. But in IFS, we say it's not just that there's kind of like feelings and thoughts that switch in and out. It's that they're kind of like mini me's on the inside. They're like we actually have like little kind of like people on the inside of us. And like my angry that part, this is where we finally use the word part instead of subpersonality or side. Like my angry part has been doing this a long time and is ready to come out guns blazing. But my nervous part just wishes that we could catch a break and feel secure at last. And so, as an IFS therapist, like all IFS therapists, I am trained to help people slow down and meet different sides of themselves and start to see them as kind of like almost like an inner child that I can help lead instead of like a tormentor that gives me these scary thoughts or feelings. Um, and there's other ways to break it down further, but there's two main categories of parts. We have vulnerable parts that can get stuck in the past or carry pain, and we have protector parts, and they have jobs to try to help us out, to try to like get us away from the pain, or stop us from being hurt in the first place. So to finally circle back to the question that you actually asked, if someone says like, well, there's a part of me that desires closeness, but there's a part of me that wants to that panics, right? And I would say that's totally valid. It is a normal human experience to have like two different sides of you, both online, doing different things. Like one side of you is feeling this, another side is feeling that, and you're conflicted, and they're both real, and they're kind of both maybe taking up space in your body, and maybe kind of your heart space is lit up because you're like feeling like connected to this person, and at the same time your foot is tapping because you're like panicking, and like they're both happening at the same time. Um, Totally normal. We all have parts. We have multiple perspectives that coexist at the same time inside of our psyche. Um, we often might feel like a desire to connect that comes from a younger part that basically maybe was denied connection or had connection harmed when we were growing up at some point. And they're kind of stuck in this place of being disconnected, and feeling maybe unloved. And then what happens is when we get these parts that get stuck in the pain of the past, those are yucky feelings. So we actually push those parts away internally, like in our own psyche. In our own psyche, we're like, look, we don't want to feel your unloved feelings, so like go to the corner and leave us alone. Now, this isn't conscious for us, but on the inside, these like little mini me's are doing this to this other little mini me. And they're like, go away. We don't want the unloved feeling. Take it with you. So you have this part that's like, I was the unloved 5-year-old that no one wanted to listen to. And then on the inside, I carry the trauma of the 5-year-old reality I'm stuck in, and everybody doesn't want to listen to me. And so if you're that little inner 5-year-old, what do? You dream of the person who's finally going to want to listen. You dream of the person who's finally going to get it and make everything better and predict your needs before you even vocalize them. You're longing for this. And so you're with someone that might actually feel like this is like the version of dad that might actually get me this time. Like, oh my God. And it's like all the lights come on, all the hope comes out, all the connection feels so good. And simultaneously, you have this other part that's like not locked in the corner, that's got an important job and scanning with the binoculars and is like, which type of people are going to hurt me? And it's like, oh, this person that we're connecting to right now that we went on this date with, they remind us of dad, or they, they actually have this thing where like they said this comment, they looked away at the wrong time, or they said this comment, and like that probably means that they're going to reject us. And so if I'm the one that's like, this person's going to reject us, they're going to hurt us. And all of a sudden I'm like noticing there's a 5-year-old coming out and all the lights are coming on. I'm like, oh my God, love me forever. And then I'm like one that's like, they're going to hurt us. Then you have this situation where like the protector is panicking. Like, we got to get away from this person. And the little exile, that's what we call it, vulnerable. The little vulnerable one is like leaning in 1,000,000%. So that's not the only way a dynamic like that can go down, but that is like a really classic one. And I'll kind of cut myself off there because that's been plenty.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was a really like detailed answer like that. Now I understand fully what it means, and I think the listeners would appreciate that too. I think yeah, like actually like in my coaching I work in something not like some kind of similar. There's always this like inner child healing and like dealing with the inner child.
Mhm.
So I can totally like relate to this like parts, but it's nice to see it also from a different perspective, like these parts perspective, because some yeah like through my experience, like some people they don't like to imagine that there's like a little child inside of them.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's better to imagine like okay, I have different parts, and it gives it more like variety. I think like more depth to it.
Mhm.
So you talked like about chemistry, like about trauma and the inner child and so on, and like seeking the same kind of person who hurt you in the first place to like heal you at the same time. So what would you say is like the difference between chemistry and a trauma response?
I'll roll right into that one because it's just an expanding in my example. I would say the biggest difference sometimes can be that like the trauma response carries relief and desperation with it.
Hmm.
And the chemistry is a little bit more like calm, confident, playful connection that's like enlivening.
Hmm.
But that, like I'm in my example, that inner 5-year-old that's like, I haven't been loved and I've been kicked to the corner, but that's gonna be my person. They're the one that's gonna love me. They come out and it feels like $1,000,000 because they're like, I'm finally getting the connection. I'm finally getting the love. Can I just get more? Is this really even happening? But it's really that they're kind of like, did I make it out of the corner this time? Do we finally not have to be alone? It's relief. It's a feeling of, oh my God, did we finally get like everything we've dreamed for? And the answer is usually like you're on a first date, you're allowed to have a great time, but it doesn't mean it's the answer to every dream you've ever had. And if it feels like it's the answer to every dream you've ever had, you might have an inner 5-year-old that's
Mhm.
been dreaming a long time. Um, so
Yeah.
and I always got to put a plug here and like, and there's no shame to this, right? Like if you had trauma or attachment wounds when you were young, and then in the back of your subconscious, there's pain around it, that like is part of being human for many of us. And it's not like you did it on purpose. And it's not like by not knowing how to heal it, you've been like neglecting it on purpose. And so when there's desperation there, it's not like, what's wrong with you? You're so desperate. Is no, no, no. That's like such a harmful way for us to feel or think. It's like, oh my God, there's something inhealed in you that's desperate for healing, but it's trying to get it from this dating partner. And actually, it might be worth trying to help the part find the healing from you so that they can just enjoy your dating partner or like share life with your partner, but not need them as a rescuer. So,
Yeah, definitely. I think like, and that also doesn't mean if you realize that this is a trauma response, like your attraction to this person, it doesn't mean that there's also no chemistry. They can coexist together, and they can also like you can just take it as an information to like work on yourself, and that doesn't mean like don't date or stop dating or reject the person who made you feel this way, because once you work on it and then you realize, okay, like now. I'm working on this, and then it will be clearer and clearer with time whether there's also chemistry or it was only or just trauma response. What do you say about that, Vanessa?
I completely agree with Radiance. I almost conceptualize it as like a full body takeover. And like chemistry is more here, but when you are having a trauma response, your full body is activated.
Yeah, makes
I
total
agree.
sense.
Yeah, Radiance did it perfectly. She explained that so well.
Yeah, makes sense. And like, so Vanessa, how like, so there are these like sexual scripts always. Like for example, in the queer community, there are these like top bottom roles. There's this masculinity performance. There's also porn expectations
Hmm.
or like no feelings attached or something. Like, how do these scripts block intimacy?
I mean, I think it depends on the person. Like, I think some individuals, they just want to go out and they want to have fun. And it's completely up to the person as to what they want. But if you want something deeper and something very meaningful in a long-lasting partnership, I think that you have to be intentional with what you want. And you have to go and you have to share that with people, right? Like you have to be like, hey, I really want a long-term relationship. I want intimacy. I want emotional closeness. I want physical closeness. And you just have to be confident and open with what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Do you have anything to add to this, Radiance?
Um, yeah, just that Vanessa just underscored it, but that people are allowed to want different things. And like, I think the worst thing often about the scripts is people feel like I'm bad for wanting this instead.
Mhm.
Like as a therapist, there's a lot of permission giving that like we do. Where folks like, I want this. Like, am I bad? Or like, no, you can want that.
Mhm.
Um, and so just to know that especially when it comes to like intimacy and boundaries and consent, that we're all a combination of like intellectual and emotional, spiritual, sexual, physical, all of it. And for me to be able to say, I want to share this with you this much, but that with you that much, but only if you're willing to receive it, of course, I'm not going to force it on you, but I don't want to share this with you at all right now. And that we can kind of configure that. And it's like, you're a human, you're a complex, beautiful human, and you're allowed to say, like, I want this, that, and that. Does that work for you? Do you have a counter offer? Instead of people expecting, like, what's wrong with you for wanting to share this with me? Or like, what's wrong with you for not giving me that yet? Like, that's where we really get ourselves into trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think these like now I'm not like over criticizing dating apps, but I feel dating apps are not like they don't help with that, or at least some dating apps, they make it really difficult to get out of these scripts because when you like when you're creating a profile, right, you have these options. Like you have to choose, you have to
Mm.
label yourself like, okay, I'm top, I'm bottom, I'm verse or whatever. So, and like if you change it, and then it feels hard to change. Like once you take on this identity, when you start experimenting sexually, then it's hard to get out of this box, even if you feel like, oh, I want to like experiment outside this box. I want to, maybe my whole like label will change, but people then are scared to explore.
I also think dating apps negate like the foundational principle of a relationship, and it's like, how do you feel with that person? Relationships are not like a checklist and like, oh, I want this, this, and this with a partner. And it's like, how do you feel with that person? Do you like hanging out with them? Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, that's what it's about. It's like, I like hanging out with you. You're cool. You felt
exactly.
something in me that I need, and you don't know that based on a checklist.
Yeah, definitely. And so like when it comes to like this kind of communication, whether it's online or offline, like and these like scripts and getting out of it, like what do you say, like one sentence like you have encountered with your patients like across like or throughout the time, that one very common sentence people say that sounds chill but is actually self-abandonment.
Hmm.
Can you think
So
of an example like on the spot?
I have one. I just don't know if it fits with the scripts the same way that you're asking, but um, the sentence that my clients might say that actually is self-abandonment is like, that's just them. Like, that's just Frank. That's just Susie. Um, and just using that to excuse a whole lot of behavior that's actually like imbalanced or abusive or harmful. And so it's the ultimate self-abandoning is like, here I am working really hard and like going to therapy. And I'm the one paying for therapy and I'm the one showing up for therapy. And I'm learning to like approach them in a little bit more careful way because they can be a little bit of a powder keg. And there they are doing none of that and criticizing me anyway. But I'm like, well, that's just so and so. It's
Yeah.
like you just abandoned yourself a whole lot, you poor thing. And I don't blame you, because we carry in these attachment wounds where we think we have to put up with things like that. But that would be my answer. It's like that's just so and so.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And I agree, Radiance. I think one that I hear a lot is, oh, it's fine.
Oh, it's fine.
It's fine. Like there's something that I have to do internally and I have to make myself okay with their behavior when in reality I'm not okay with it. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like I'll get over it. Like it's fine. I'll accept it. And I think that comes to fruition when it's like you might be in a situationship and be like, oh, it's fine for now. Like things might change in the future, but it's fine. When in reality, you want something deeper, you want a relationship, you want a commitment. It's like, oh, it's fine for now.
Yeah, no, that's very
This is great.
v- very true. I've also encountered that a lot. It's fine or it doesn't matter. I had another episode about this.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter, like I think one of my last three episodes. Um So actually, Vanessa, like if somebody wants to really ask for what they want early on and like really communicate that, but sometimes it can feel like it's a job interview. Like, what do you want? Tell me your interests and stuff like that. Do you have like a like kind of a sexy but not clinical way to ask for what you want, whether it's needs or boundaries or pace or even like kinks, anything like that?
Well, I do the sexual side. I can give an example. I like to do this thing called a bossy massage or a bossy anything where somebody just asks for what they want and like in the bossiest way possible, and then that person gets what they want. It's like a little exercise, but it can be fun and kinky if you do it in like a sexual way at first. And you can be like, I want to do a bossy massage today, and I want to do it on my feet. And then they tell their partner exactly what they want, exactly how they want it, and then the bossiest person wins, and you kind of take turns. So I do like that for the sexual encounter, but I do think that there's something really sexy about someone knowing what they want, like and desiring that person because they want to desire that person.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
So just
I,
asking.
Yeah, exactly. Like it can be very simple, but yeah, I also get it if people like struggle, like if it's first date and they're curious and they want to know, but like, I mean, of course, on a first date, many people don't know whether this will turn into something, then they don't see the point in asking all these detailed questions. But I would say it should be part of your first date, to be honest.
Hmm.
So,
I think that people
yeah.
go, oh, sorry.
Go
I think there's levels to like interpersonal communication. And I think people stay sometimes on the surface level for a little bit too long before asking like a level two or level three question. So like level one question be like, how was your day? Like level two question is like, hey, how did you get to become a therapist? Level three question is like, oh, what inside of you is what makes you tick in your job? So like there's different levels to vulnerability. And I think on a first date, like you should ask level one questions, but also like don't be scared to ask level two or level three questions so you can get to know that person a little bit better. I think sometimes we stay in the surface level for too long and then it becomes awkward. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's just talking about surface level and you're like, oh, I kind of just like want a little bit more depth? Especially on a date, it's like, oh, we're just talking about like your job and X, Y, and Z. Like ask a level two question, see how that goes. And I think that's a really good indicator whether or not like you want to continue like going down the levels of communication.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if somebody is not open to going into level two or three, even on the first date, and you are a person who is like that, and the other person just doesn't appreciate it or takes it as something like too intense or something, then it just means it's not compatible. Like as simple as that.
Yeah. Or they might need more time. Who knows?
Exactly. Like if like maybe even if the other person sees it as like, okay, this was too much for me, but if they show understanding, then it of course it's still fine. But if they reject you just because of that, then it means it was not compatible in the first place.
Hmm.
So, what do you say? Like, what's the most common way people accidentally violate their own consent in dating? And what would be like a better alternative?
Settling for something that you don't want and you inherently know that you don't want.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have like an example? Like example many people might overlook.
Situationships, I think, are a really good example. For example, a woman knows that she wants to get married, she wants to have kids, but then she is with a man or woman who just wants to have sex. It's like you know what you want, but then you're doing something because the other person wants that. And like you are settling for that other thing because of some other reason. You know what you want, but you're not willing to go get it
Yeah, that makes sense.
or
Radiance, do you
settle
have?
for something like,
Yeah. I would connect it to what I was saying before about the scripts.
Mhm.
And I've seen clients that feel like they just have to do things they don't want to do because that's what people are supposed to do, or they feel like they're bad if they don't have sex as soon enough, and because they're actually, but they're not actually feeling safe with the person. But like, it doesn't matter if I'm feeling safe with them. It matters that it's the fifth date, and like I'm something wrong with me, and it's like I was saying before, like no, 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 honey, like nothing is wrong with you for not wanting to share your body and your sexuality until you also feel safe and connected. If that's important to you, like you are allowed to be a person who wants that first. And so yeah, I think that that sense that we can't have our own like configurations of needs and desires, and then we have to follow scripts and judge ourselves is the way folks abandon themselves too.
Yeah,
such a good
that's
one.
it is very it's amazing. I can relate that to like my early dating times. It feels at some point it feels like an obligation, right? Like okay, now it's like date number this, we have to do it. And no, you don't. Like for some people they can be ready from the first date, for others they can be ready after like the date number 100 and it's both are fine.
Yeah, and I was going to say this earlier. I can't remember what one of you was saying, but um, Vanessa was saying, I don't remember. But what I was going to say was, um, greater intimacy can come by talking through these mismatches and what we want. Vanessa was saying, oh, it's fine. Like I want things to be different, but I'm not going to own it, right? Like, oh, it's fine. And it's like actually, it might be that you continue to let things be without a person, or it might be that you still don't get what you want, but that's different after the intimacy of like working through this is what I want and this is how I'm feeling about the status quo, and the other person being like, oh, thanks for sharing, like this is why I'm the way I am, like I still don't want to give you this thing that you want, but I feel bad, like can I give you something else? And like having that conversation makes things different than just skipping that conversation, and that's part of what intimacy is. And so yeah, if it's like sex on date, whatever, like one person's allowed to be like, I have these feelings about the fact that you haven't wanted this with me. That's valid. Let's talk about those feelings. It's not the same as you're bad for not having sex with me. It's
Mhm.
I have these feelings and like, can we figure out a way that works for both of us here without any coercion? And um, so yeah, that's part of what intimacy is from my point of view is
Yeah,
that.
makes sense. Like I think for many people, one of the main aspects or one of the main needs is actually to be heard, right? Even if at the end it doesn't work out, but as long as you feel you're being heard and not ignored, then I think that makes up a lot of like what we call intimacy, like being seen, being heard, acknowledged, appreciated, all of these things. Um, so I would have actually loved to continue for longer, but I think we're running out of time. Just for the listeners, like where can listeners like find you both and your work and examples? Is it all on your website or is there something else?
CushingCounseling.com. You can always book a call with Radiance with me. We do free consultations, and then there's different resources online. I do make videos on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube Shorts just around sex. They're all free and educational, and I hope that it helps someone. And then Radiance.
Cushingcounseling.com is the best place to find me because like Vanessa said, you can not just read about me there, but you can also book a free consultation to talk to me. Um, so I would, yeah, and if you want to learn more about internal family systems, you can Google it or you can reach out to me.
Yeah.
Both would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we might do a demonstration right after the outro. So if you're interested in seeing like how Radiance like performs like with her like or does her job, and you want to know like how IFS works and so on, there will be like a short demonstration right after the end of the episode. So you can just stay and watch further or listen further if you, I don't know, does this work with only listening or does it have to also be like that you watch it?
Works with listening.
Okay, perfect. All right, then. Thank you both very much for being here. I really appreciate it, and it's really always amazing to learn something new, a new method, a new concept. I think it's very enriching. So yeah, thank you again.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Lonay. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, for the listeners, if this episode gave you language for something you have felt but couldn't really name or recognize like by yourself, then that's the point. If you want more episodes like this, please let me know. And always please support the show so I can keep it going. And yeah, thank you for listening. And until next time, yeah, stay kind to yourselves and to each other. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.
Hello again. So as promised, we will start the demonstration. First, Radiance and Vanessa, and then we will do a short demonstration with me. In case both, in case it takes like very long, then I will just keep one of them in the recording. So yeah, let's start.
Hi,
Yeah.
Radiance.
Hello, Vanessa. So I'm going to try to remember as we go along to kind of narrate what I'm doing here and there, just so folks who are listening who are totally new to the whole concept might be able to follow along a bit easier, but I might forget. So we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do is just actually ask you to summarize the issue that you want to talk about. And I'm going to be listening on my end for parts, even though we're not talking about parts yet. You're just summarizing your issue, but I'm kind of like thinking ahead, listening for parts. So whenever you would like, Vanessa, I'd love to hear what you wanted to talk about.
So I'm having a lot of anxiety around my relationship. I have it almost is like ruminating thoughts about is this relationship going to work? Like every single thing that, not everything that he does. Like for example, like over the weekend we were supposed to spend Saturday together, and he ended up not coming over until like 5 o'clock because there was things that were going on, and that was super triggering to me. And the whole time I was like, is this even going to work? Like I'm a timely person. Like the communication isn't working. Like he doesn't care about me. We're supposed to spend the whole day together. Like, and he's not coming over until 5 p.m. And like just a lot of anxiety and frustration around that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is like I just keep getting in my head about these like issues and then almost catastrophizing. Like, is this going to work? Is this like a compatible relationship for a long-term relationship for me?
Yeah. Okay. And so what I'm hearing is that it's like not everything, but like almost everything that's going on is leading to this rumination. And when the rumination is occurring, it's like you have this one part of you that is getting anxious, like to the point of catastrophizing. It's like, is this even going to work?
Yeah.
And you have another part of you that gets frustrated. It's
Hmm.
like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why is he doing this? And then you have another part of you that actually gets the message kind of clicked off on the inside, like he doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah, it's only when we're not together though. Like it's when we're together, I feel so much better. Like I feel seen, I feel cared for, but it's when we're not together or like he's in his head about something. Like I know that he doesn't express a lot of feelings, which is interesting because I'm a therapist, and that's when I get in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it only happens when he's in his head or when you're not together. But I would still say it matters that it's
Mhm.
happening. And so like the parts of you that are struggling with this like deserve some time and attention.
Yeah.
If we were going to work on one of them today, does it feel right to go to the anxious one, the frustrated one, or the one that feels like he doesn't care?
Let's go to the anxious one.
Okay, yeah. And so just so now to narrate for everybody, I've listened to the summary and I've turned it into a tentative parts summary. I could be wrong if she could have corrected me, but she seemed to accept that these are three different parts. Um, and we've now chosen one, so we're going to zoom in on it a little bit in a couple different ways. So first of all, Vanessa, just ask like, is this anxious side of you willing for us to work with it for a moment?
Yeah, it felt anxious for a second. I like felt
Yeah.
that
Where,
twinge
where in your body? Yeah, where in your
in
body or around your body?
in my stomach, like and
Twin-
up to my chest.
Twinge in your stomach, up the chest. And so just check. It's okay if you can't, but just check, like, is there maybe a color that you can perceive from this anxious feeling twinging up your stomach and chest?
I feel it almost. It's like orange and like yellow.
Orange. Orange and yellow.
Mm.
Yeah. And just let it know that we want to take a little bit of time to understand it right now. We're not going to be trying to force it to change, not going to be trying to hurt it in any way. And is it willing to talk with us?
She's a little nervous, but yeah,
She's a little nervous.
she's a little
Okay.
anxious.
Yeah. Does she want to say why she's anxious?
She doesn't, she's not seen often.
She's not seen often.
Hmm.
Now
She's
for
felt
the,
often, but not seen often.
yeah, totally makes sense. And like for the listeners, I wanted I want to let you know, like I was using the word it because we started with a feeling, but I knew like the feeling is what I call like this mini me, right? And like it's a person that is starting with a feeling and it's a sensation in the body, and then we can get a color. And as we flesh it out a little bit more, in this case, not all cases, but in this case, Vanessa actually perceived it as it's not a it, it's a she,
Hmm.
without me prompting her. Now, sometimes a therapist, might introduce pronouns based on what happens, but oftentimes clients will see a little mini me on
Hmm.
the inside as a humanoid, even though the therapist isn't instructing them to. Did that happen for you, Vanessa? Did you
A
see
little
her?
bit. I
A
saw
little,
a little girl.
little girl, yeah. So just thank her for being willing to show herself to us because she didn't have to do that. Like she's saying, I'm nervous and I'm not seen often, and here she is choosing to show herself. So
Mhm.
yeah, how is that for her to just have you thank her?
She feels more calm now.
Yeah, okay. So I'm really glad she's here, and I don't have much of an agenda because we're just doing a little demo, but I'd like to be helpful to her if we can.
She'd like that.
Yeah, does she want to say what she'd like help with?
She'd like to feel more calm and safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how are you feeling towards her?
I feel bad because I think I suppress her and I put her down and I try to avoid her by
Okay.
any means necessary,
Yeah. Just take a
just
moment
making
and
her stop.
just send her some of that like empathy that you're feeling now that's making you feel bad. Just that like, oh God, like you get suppressed. I don't want that for you. I'm sorry. I've done that for you. and just see how it is for her to take in the empathy.
She feels better.
Yeah. And now, so again, for the listeners, part of the therapist's job in IFS is to help parts that are not the target part move out of the way. We actually believe that everybody has a true self, and when you can work with your parts or even people on the outside from your true self, things go better because you're more able to be calm and confident and connected and compassionate. And so part of the IFS therapist job is if you're focusing on a part, like Vanessa's focusing on this anxious little girl, we want other parts to get out of the way. So what I'm going to be saying right now is like, Vanessa, can you ask the part of you that feels guilty for not taking better care of this part to actually step aside because it'll actually help us take better care of it right now. It's almost a way of making up for it.
Hmm.
The guilty one's okay doing that?
Yeah, she'll step aside. But it's
Just
guilty is self now.
what do you
Recognize.
mean?
Like the guilty part
Yeah,
is the self now, and it's like they're in two different timelines.
yeah. So like kind of
Ages.
this, it's like an adult, it's like a current
Mm.
age guilty part.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't quibble with the client about it in the moment necessarily, but I'm tracking like guilty part is not self. Like true self doesn't have like hangups like that.
Hmm.
But guilty part could be an adult part
Mm.
that kind of helps run your life. It actually sounded like that when you were talking. It sounded
Mm.
like it was like this is a part that probably pushed the anxiety one away and she feels bad about it. So I'm tracking that this is a protector part that has a job and the job that she does to manage things has maybe kind of caused some harm to the anxious one, but she's also not like your true spiritual core in and of herself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just thank her for stepping aside and just check again for me. How are you feeling towards the anxious little girl now?
Neutral.
Neutral. Yeah. Is there a little bit of like maybe holding her at a distance or being tentative with her feelings that might be there for you with this neutral?
No, I think I asked the guilty part to step away.
Yep. Yep.
I do feel the sensation in my stomach of the anxious part.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So ask this. Ask the anxious one, could she come out of your stomach into the space out in front of you and just be the little girl in your imagination in front of you and kind of take some of the anxious out of your stomach?
She's got a lot of energy.
Yeah, she's not sure she can get it all out.
Yeah.
Maybe
She's
she
like
could.
bouncing around.
Oh, okay. What if she took this is way out there, but sometimes we're spontaneous. And so what if she took the anxious energy from your stomach and turned it into a long ribbon and she could run around with the ribbon around your head?
She likes that. That's almost the visual I had in my head of like running around, like, and not
Yeah.
being able to stop.
So just let her do that and stay with her, like with care. Just being present to her, she might wind her energy down a little bit like a kid. I mean, you said she was a girl, so
Yeah, she's
um,
running fast. Not
yeah,
like this, but she's actually running, like
yeah,
literally in circles.
yeah, yeah. Just stay with her. I promise it won't go forever. And to Lonay, when you were like, "How long is this going to take?" I was like, "I have no idea. This is why, because we just follow.
Yeah,
We
makes
just
sense.
follow." Um, yeah. So she's still running.
She's running.
Totally fine. Do you still feel neutral to her? Or do you feel any different?
I feel more calm.
Good. Neutral is never quite the right word. It's off. It's not. We don't coach clients to give us the right word. We're actually just assessing with their words, like how close are they to their true self, and are there
Hmm.
still parts that need attention? But neutral doesn't usually mean what happens. If you're looking across at a little girl who's struggling, you don't feel neutral if you're really feeling from your heart.
Hmm.
You feel neutral if something else is still kind of blocking or holding it at a distance. So, um, I'm glad that that seems to have shifted a little bit for you. She's still running.
She's calmer now. She's
Yeah, I told you it doesn't go forever. Okay. So we have just a little bit longer with her. And what I want to ask her, because she said, actually, I'm rushing and I don't do good work when I'm rushing. So let me try again. Ask her how she's doing now that she's had a chance to take stuff out of your stomach and run around.
she still feels anxious. She still has that feeling in the
Totally fine.
pit of my stomach.
Is it just as bad for you as before, or
No, it's
no?
better.
It's
Like
better.
my
Yeah,
chest feels better, but I can still feel that pin in my stomach.
totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. So I know she's still anxious. So that when I was rushing, I was asking us to go back to her desire to feel more calm and safe. And I just wonder if she could tell you. And then before I actually say it, because she might start right away, um, Vanessa, you listen to her. That's what matters. But you don't have to tell me and Lene unless you want to, because I don't know what she's going to say. So if she wants to keep it between you and her, or any part of you doesn't want it to be public, it's totally fine. But just ask her, honey, like what makes it hardest for you to feel calm and safe right now?
She wants to stop running.
Wants to stop running.
She just wants a hug.
Okay. How are you feeling towards her?
Sad.
Sad. See if the sad one could step out, just like the guilty one did.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank them. 100% valid feeling. And if we were doing this differently, we would slow down with it. But right
I think
now, no.
she's sad that she has to run.
She's sad. But how do you feel towards her?
I'm glad that she's expressing that.
Yeah, just let her know that.
Like she just
Just,
wants to be held.
and what does it feel right to you to do?
Give her a hug.
Do it. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, she wants to stop running.
So is running something that she finds herself doing with your partner?
I think the running is different. The running is the thoughts. Like
Mm,
this constant thoughts, 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 thoughts that just she
yeah.
wants to stop.
Is there another part that's making her do all that?
I don't
No.
know. She's
It's her own anxiety.
yeah.
Yeah. So our little mini-me's, they can have their own feelings. Like if you're really technical, they can even have their own like subparts to them. Like we're not gonna do that type of work right now. But um yeah, like this little girl's anxiety is making her have to run around with these thoughts.
Mhm.
Um is she just stuck with her anxiety, or is she trying to help you by giving you the thoughts, like by kind of passing the thoughts up to you?
I think she's just stuck. She
Yeah.
doesn't know anything else to do.
Yeah.
And she's exhausted because she's been running for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Is she trying to help in some way by giving you these thoughts? Is she trying to protect you at all?
She wants me to have all the information.
Yeah. What is she afraid would happen if she couldn't get you all the information?
I don't know. This one is a blank.
That's okay.
I don't think she knows. I think this is the only thing she has known.
Yeah, I think that she might be one of these vulnerable ones we call exiles and not one of these ones we call protectors that have jobs.
Hmm.
And at first I thought she was a protector because a lot of times our anxiety can come from protectors, basically parts saying, I need to make sure you think through everything so you're ready. I need to make sure you're prepared. I need to make sure you're covered on all angles. That's what anxiety often is. It doesn't sound like that's her angle.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I
How
think
old is
she's
she?
hurt.
Yeah,
She's
how old
hurt.
is she?
Like 7, 5 or 7.
How did she get hurt?
Mm, no one cared about her.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what it feels like if you're with your partner and he's in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vanessa, from your heart, do you think it's the same thing? Do
In
you
the
think that,
moment, like she feels that way, but Vanessa knows that it's not
yeah.
that way.
So just let her know that with no invalidation, just as like a parent to a child, like, honey, it's not the same.
Yeah, she knows, but she's still very,
She still has,
very,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, okay. So here's the thing. We aren't going to be able to do a ton more here because she deserves to do the trauma processing from 5 or 7.
Mhm.
And it's that stuff from the past that's alive in the present that's causing the trouble. It's not because she's got like a misguided intention or anything like that. Um, and so these present day triggers, like him not being there, are enough for her to be like, oh my God, it's my stuff, my stuff, my stuff. And like, is it this stuff? And is it ever gonna be stuff? Is that sounding right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be working with, which we could do if we had the time, but we don't have the time. It would be working with her memories from when she was 5 or 7, really letting them go.
Hmm.
What we can do, no, is she following? You're following me, but is she following me as well?
She's following you.
Yeah. What we can do is try just a little bit right now of kind of a temporary
Mhm.
benefit, and it's just to ask her to find her anxiety in her own body. Maybe it's in the same place, the stomach into the chest. Maybe it's not. Just see if she's able to do that.
It's so present in my body that it's hard to tell. I feel like it's the same.
If you see her in your imagination out in front of her, have her put her right hand on whatever part of her body her anxiety is in.
Mm. Yeah, it's her stomach.
It's her stomach.
But also like she's telling me it's full body too. Like it's a full body.
It's both. Yeah. Because she's stuck with it and she's been stuck
Yeah.
with it for decades. Yeah. It's kind of a big thing for her. Um, okay. Have her take out as much as she can from her stomach. It might not be a lot, but just let her play because she's probably never done this before, what we're doing right now. Just let her play and see, is there any of the anxiety from her stomach that she can get out that she's willing to let go of now, even though we haven't done her trauma?
She's not willing to let it go.
Beautiful. I'm really proud of her for standing up for herself for what's right for her. Yeah. So the other thought I had, and this might be a no as well, but like, could she imagine running boots that she would like to take off and get rid of?
Mm.
Running boots isn't a thing. I don't know why I went there, but
She feels that it's necessary for her to keep running for right now. She
got
doesn't
it.
want to, like she knows she's so tired, she wants to stop, but like she's not ready yet.
So it might be that the biggest thing that comes of this is you knowing she is like a worthy, beautiful girl who's kind of got pain from the past and isn't doing this to you on purpose,
Yeah.
and that she can get a hug from you.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
she needs. And she needs
that,
reassurance.
yeah. And that would be the takeaway. But again, to the listeners, that's not like the only thing that IFS could do for you. We would do more work if there was more
Yeah.
time. But Yeah, does she want to say any closing thoughts?
I can see the childhood home I grew up in, like the images are
Yeah,
flashing into my
yeah,
brain, like my backyard, almost like being alone, like
yeah,
walking, very vivid images.
yeah,
And they're each different.
yeah, yeah. She's already kind of sharing a bit, and that's where I would actually be bargaining with her to kind of hold off, like, wait until our next therapy appointment. We will come back to your stuff. Please don't overwhelm Vanessa this week with trauma material just because we started. We're starting because we care about you. We will get to it all. But I ask you to not give Vanessa any kind of like flashbacks or images and stuff until next time because therapy is the time to work through this. So that would be what I'd be doing with the client. It's a little harder with her because you don't have a planned time to return to this. But yeah, I want to thank her, and I want to thank you. And again, for the listeners, I really have been tracking Vanessa and the little girl as two separate beings. There's no way for me to do this job if I'm just like, oh, there's Vanessa and her feeling. Like, no, like there's Vanessa and the girl, and I'm making a request to Vanessa, like, ask the guilty part to step aside,
Mhm.
and I'm making a request to the girl, like, come out of her stomach and come out in front of her. And so they're two separate characters. And so I actually, as a therapist, I feel gratitude to both. I'm like, thank you to the little girl for showing herself right away. So like Vanessa switched the pronouns before I did, and now everybody can see like IFS isn't crazy, like parts are people. And thank you to the little girl for working with us. Thank you to the little girl for being direct. And thank you to Vanessa for going along with all of it as well and for being so brave and bold. So
Thank you, Radiance.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was very interesting actually to like to see it in person. And thank you, Vanessa, for being open to do that. Yeah, I think because yeah, it took a
Mhm.
while. I think yeah, let's skip me for now. But yeah, I like it's very interesting. It's reminding me. I don't know if you heard of RTT before, like Rapid Transformational Therapy by Marissa Peer.
I've like learned and forgot. Yeah, I don't remember about it.
Yeah, so what this is what I've done basically. Like I got certified through Marissa Peer and like so like some materials they're not exactly the same, but like some tools like very similar with like the inner child and like child in the room or like the talking with a parent like who didn't give love or like facing your the people like your the people who wounded you basically like facing them and talking with them. So I think that's what you would be doing with like going through the trauma and like the memories and exploring all of these things or like something in that direction. But yeah, thank you so much again. And I hope now the listeners have like a better idea what IFS is and how it works. And yeah, if you feel like this is something for you, now you like there will be links in the description of the episode and you know where to find them basically.
Love to connect if this feels right to you. I love getting to do this work.
All right, then. Okay, bye bye again.
Yeah, bye bye again.